Audio is off.
Just like this was our house.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, Dennis.
Okay, it's 9 o'clock. We'll get started. This meeting and all of the meetings of this committee are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with Wisconsin statutes so that the citizenry may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of the meeting. Okay. Roll call shows that everybody is here. If you had a chance, if you can review and accept the agenda. Okay. Motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next we go to the minutes of the previous meeting of January 27, 2025.
Motion to approve. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we go down to correspondence.
I don't have any.
Okay, and then we're down to administrative department report. Chris?
All right, good morning. Just a couple of things that I want to keep you up to date on. So the first is just an update between the on the contract between Waupaca County DW Madison Division of Extension. So we are still working on a contract that for the 2025 calendar year. Chair Morak has signed a continuation, so we are operating under the 2024 contract until April 15th. So that would be the county board meeting in April. So that's the date we're hoping. So then the process where we're at is for those of you who happen to remember reading my email, in February at the Finance Committee, there was a motion made to appoint a county negotiating team, which included 4 supervisors and 4 staff members on behalf of Waupaca County. That group, we are currently exchanging. There's a information exchange, a request from Corporation Counsel, County Corporation Counsel to review our request to look at terminology. So one of the things that is evident and is known within the contract as the agreement as it's been written is that there are some multiple terms that mean the same thing without. Which can lead to confusion. So the next step is that we have, from the extension side, we have updated and tried to clarify those terms, and we'll put those into the contract to review. It was something that had come up. It wasn't this wasn't a purely Waupaca County item. There was a couple of other counties in the contract process that had identified, it would be a little nicer if some of these things matched up. For example, extension staff and extension faculty are used interchangeably, and it can be in some cases. So at the current time, Waupaca doesn't have any faculty, but we do have extension staff. In many cases, they can be used interchangeably from our perspective, but that's what happens when you use jargon in your field. Is that the reader, with the context of the organization, I just translate them in my head and we go through, and it's not that big of a deal. But it is who are we talking about and what are we talking about as far as that. So there is. I've been working with both Diane and Mandy. We have not identified a date when the negotiation groups are getting together to put together the final details. So hopefully I'll have more, hopefully even by the end of the day today, to find out if that is going to happen, when that's going to happen.
Now, I was told the plan is to extend 2024 contract throughout the rest of this year. And then start in July or whenever with budget process to work on the new one.
That may be the case, but nothing official has been forwarded to myself or Jeremy Solon. So we're progressing that we're negotiating the 2025 agreement or a new agreement until we hear otherwise. So I mean, I understand that has been mentioned, but no one formally on behalf of the negotiating team has reached out to either myself or Jeremy to propose or indicate that that's the plan. So we're also moving forward on an updated 2025 agreement, and then we'll shortly begin working on a 2026 agreement once that's in place, or whatever the solution is that is proposed to us, or that would be agreeable by both parties.
What is the hang up for now, or what issue is?
So the terminology referring to like staff and faculty is one. The other is specifically relating to technology and the providing technology. In previous agreements, the county provided IT hardware, some software, not all software, because this University of Wisconsin does provide quite a bit of software, and IT support to the county extension office. This is consistent with past agreements. It's also consistent with extension offices pretty much throughout the state, that the county IT provide those services. I should also add that they provide the network or the internet connection as well. So that is something that at least has been brought forward to me, that there is a wish to become separate, and that the University of Wisconsin should provide all of those services not at county expense. So it would be at UW expense. So that's not part of the relation. That's not then the past relationship that we've had, nor is it. So the one different, there is one thing, state statute 59.56, or it's 56.59. So I apologize. Does outline that if a county does, it's optional, but if a county does have an extension program within their county, that extension program is a department of the county. So that is by state statute. So because of that, the University of Wisconsin-Madison and extension for years before have not allocated those funds, because in many cases it's much more efficient and practical for the counties to provide the computer and IT support, because it's already built into the infrastructure. And so the request is to have full separation. So we have from the extension side of things, we have the cost breakdowns, and we're not quite ready. We haven't. That would be something that we would work with the negotiating team, and then also with this group. But we have the cost breakdowns for implementing UW supported hardware, software, and infrastructure. But at this time, there are no funds. UW allocated financial resources, so we would have to look within our current extension department budget to look at the implementation. And so the implementation would be the initial cost, and then the annual cost of those different solutions. So that's from the perspective of both and me in between, as both working with as representing the department, but then also representing the University Division of Extension. So in between, trying to find the best balance. Now, that said, that's why the negotiating team is meeting to discuss all of these, because there are likely, for every possibility. There's probably sub options and other creative ways to think that would be able to, that we would be able to both provide the tools and the resources that the staff need to do their jobs and try to be the most responsible with the fiscal resources that are so limited to all of us.
So what is the financial amount that they're looking to, the county is looking to be reimbursed for or eliminate from their budget?
I don't know what I don't know the costs of, costs, county costs to the department are not charged back. So I'm not 100% sure of what the impact is. There's a couple different models that can range from the first year between $8,000 and $15,000 for implementation. Actually, excuse me, $8,000 and $45,000, and then the annual cost would be between $2,500 and $14,000 annually to maintain. That would be the UW maintaining and the county, it would be included in the county contract.
Yes, can I just add to that for the food-wise perspective?
Yep.
So when Chris is talking about hardware, he means a laptop, a monitor, keyboards, a mouse, those, those pieces. In the past, the county has provided Haley and I, being in food-wise, a computer, a monitor, a mouse, a keyboard. And they decided to not provide us those items already. So they have already taken 2 laptops, 2 monitors, 2 mouses, 2 keyboards, and any maintenance to our devices out of their budget. So Haley and I are already utilizing UW-Madison purchased laptops, monitors, mouses, and keyboards. And now we 100% go to UW-Madison for any technology support.
So the transition already isn't starting to.
And the reasoning is because we
Separation.
are not funded whatsoever by the county. We don't have any county funding coming to our salaries. We were just really providing, the county was providing food-wise in-kind support as a UW Extension employee. So, housing, basically using the lights, the space, but we come to the county free of charge for the programming that we provide, the county has not paid for. So they decided, although in the 2024 contract, that they would provide those resources to food-wise, they decided to pull those resources before a new contract was
So they're
created.
really not grandfathered in the 24 contract.
Correct.
And yeah, so Christie's correct. My situation is the same, but then I am also quite unique. So I don't have 3 different county laptops plus the state computer. I just have the state computer, but the three of us are on a similar.
But you didn't ever have.
No, I never did. So just that's where, that's what we're working through currently. It is, yes. So to specifically relating to the contract items, that's an update of where, of where we're at, or at least what, and like Dennis said, there, it may be some other information, but that hasn't been formally communicated as to what proposal might be looking forward. Any other questions? Comments?
Yeah. Go on.
I will, so what we will, if there are any updates that happen between now and between now and the April county board meeting, I'll try to communicate those to you via email or through phone calls, if there's something actionable that we need. I mean, in addition to talking with Dennis, if there's some action that may need to be taken by this committee.
So you are presuming that this is gonna be on the agenda?
I don't know that. I don't know that at all.
Or just a date, just by coincidence?
The April, yeah, correct, the continuation MOU. So to continue the contract is through April 15th. That's the date that Chair Morak and I had discussed about being about what we felt being practical to allow the conversations to happen. So there will need to be some action prior to that. Is, whether we move forward or some way we have to move forward or have a decision made by then. So we either need to have a time or a date to extend that or to have a new agreement to replace it. All right, a couple other things, just to, as an FYI, there's a couple different funding sources that we have that are a bit interesting. So with the transition at the federal government level, there's a lot of potential that they're dependent on what is proposed by the current administration as far as changes to federal funding. So today there are no significant impacts on our core extension programs and the Division of Extension. And I say immediate because there are impacts because some of the statewide and some of our extension team are working on their work is being funded by some federal grants that have been paused or they would work with partners in federal agencies that individuals, either their work focus has been shifted or their contacts have been part of the layoffs, the significant amount of layoffs across many of the departments. So right now, the continued funding resolution through September 30th provided a bit of some stability to some of the programs, specifically with the Farm Bill, and contained within the Farm Bill is the SNAP Ed and FNAP funding that provides funding to our FoodWise program. So we have at least for 6 months of that funding while there, obviously there's work going to be going. That's through September 30th. The federal fiscal year runs October 1 through September 30. So that's where you'll see September 30 because the federal fiscal year will begin on October 1. So some good news and so the University of Wisconsin and many of the land grant institutions that are extension is affiliated with have a significant amount of federal funding, not just, there are some specific programs like Smith-Lever. So the Smith-Lever Act is a specific part of funding bill that's been going on since like 1917, has been continual. That is direct funding to land grant extension programs. There are some in the past have been very stable and continuous funding. The amount may have plateaued over the years, but it's still fairly consistent. There's also a lot of research that is being done specifically on the UW-Madison campus. But if you think about, Michigan State and Iowa State and University of Minnesota and all of the other land grant institutions in the region. There's a lot of research, and that is funded through a number of different federal grant programs to conduct that research. And that, in many different ways, that's potentially in jeopardy. So one of the things is that there's nothing right now, like as I say today, there's nothing immediate, but the University of Wisconsin and our division are taking a very cautious approach, especially to hiring, to make sure, if there are vacancies of bringing individuals on board, how will that position be funded? What is the percentage that have federal funding? How secure is that? And then the other thing would be looking at other like travel and other professional development, trying to balance that, because there is a strong need for professional development and for learning and participating and being part of these different learning events, or participating in these conferences or seminars or workshops. And also looking at how are those funded? What are the, are there some barriers? Are there other ways to accomplish that? Things like that, just to make sure that if there is a need to supplement some programs, because there is a loss in one area, that we can at least provide some continuation as best as we can. So more on that as it and so I'm speaking from like the Division of Extension perspective. I also recognize that there's a lot in the state of Wisconsin, Waupaca County, a lot of other places that, organizations and governmental units that also rely on federal funding in a number of different ways, that those could be potentially impacted. So by no means am I discounting any of those impacts. I'm just sharing the potential ones that I know the most about and impact the staff that I work with.
I know it's NRCS, which works closely with Land and Water. They've already eliminated 52 positions in the state. And it affected them here in Waupaca County, one position, and so things are just going to have to go a little slower.
Yeah. So those could be things that we could see a lot more of, not necessarily just extension, but a lot of other
That
things.
position, that employee was a year. Right around a year.
It's probably through that probationary period.
Right. Yeah.
But this could be taken, because if somebody was working 20 years, all of a sudden a position come over in their home area and they took it, they were in probationary for period too, so.
Yeah. The other thing to add, at least something just to put on your radar, but there's no updates right now. The Wisconsin biennial budget process has started. So that also has the potential, that always has a potential to impact the universities and extension. It's way too early to tell what any of the big initiatives are going to be. This is the time where everybody's throwing out all kinds of ideas, from legislators to organizations to lobbyists of what potentially is the next best thing. So we'll more when I know it, but just an FYI that's happening. So and then I'm gonna just touch on a couple things, but if the rest of the team had a couple wanted to share just a couple things about our move to our new London site on Northwest Water Street. So one of the things that I want to do is do a shout out and a lot of thanks to Ron and the facilities team throughout the process, both in preparing preparing in our courthouse stuff to helping us get rid of purged items, to finding some longer term storage item uses or long-term storage for items that we may need only once every now and then. We have a couple, maybe 3 pallets that are being stored in the basement by the sheriffs that are things that we can still access and we don't need them in our space immediately. So a lot of kudos to them, a lot of heavy lifting, and a lot of brain power helping us troubleshoot or give us ideas for how to do some different things. So a really thank you to Ron and the facilities team. During the move, from my perspective, we had an opportunity to purge, shred, and archive a fair amount of stuff. And there's sometimes where I know it was exhausting, and it also sometimes felt good to be able to go through and get rid of some things that have been accumulating. One of the things I will note is that Allie made a connection with what's her first name, Allie? Our archivist at the.
Oh, Mackenzie.
Mackenzie,
Like,
thank
what
you.
did I do?
No, this is a positive. This is a good thing. Allie made a connection with Mackenzie Ryan, who works with the Steenbach Library on the UW-Madison campus. And she is essentially our archivist, extensions archivist. So she gave us some tips and some things that we collected that would be appropriate to put in the archives. So the Waupaca County has a section of archives down at the Steenbach Library that are kind of neat. Or at least I've been down there, and I have, at the time I didn't work in these counties, but I saw the files for some of the other counties that I worked in. They were pretty cool. So she came and actually met I took everything to Winnebago County. Winnebago County had a couple filing cabinets that Mackenzie emptied out because he said there was gold. And a couple things that we had found in Outagamie County as well. So it was kind of cool to find some of the things that they were looking for. Programs of award winners, agendas or, presentation type things from educators, reports from past years, those kind of things. So it's together, and not only is it together in a spot, but it's also going to be stored correctly in the right environment. And then there are still some items that are very specific to Waupaca County that may not be as specific to extension, that then we can work and even have made connections with getting to the proper historical society here locally. So getting them off of a shelf somewhere in a box behind another box, and hopefully someplace where the public and others can view them. The other thing is that I will share that the space in New London is a very different space or different type of space than any other extension office that I have worked in. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just, it's different, and it takes a little bit of different thinking. And I just want another shout out. Allie and Haley really put a lot of time into helping keep our effort glued together and keep focused, and provided a lot of opportunity for the rest of the team to have impact feedback and get all of their stuff cleaned and sorted and organized. And as a team, we also hit some of those not so fun spaces together, or broke into some different groups, to clean off some of the shared or the community spaces. And so it was a team effort. Allie and Haley were the constants. So especially when working and navigating with Ron and finding out, asking questions, answering questions, those types of things. So huge thanks to them. One of So one of the other things, so not without some hiccups, the landlord or the owner of the building is a new landlord or the building is new to him. So we're still working through the hows and whats, things like garbage and recycling. Also, it appears that, everyone who is a resident around us has a dog. And now those dogs just willy-nilly do their business all over the place. So trying to, be able to have a safe space, a safe path, to be able to walk through without having to dodge dog mines, is something we're also, working through. But, those are all some of those new things. And at some point in the not so distant future, we'll have an open house, to invite some. Ken's already been popped in, a couple times and said hi. Anyone else is welcome from 8 to 4, Monday to Friday. And, also Chair Morak popped in. I think he was on a little bit of a walk because, he's fairly close. He's actually just a couple blocks down. So he popped in and said that, just noted and liked the space. So that's my perspective. I didn't go into a lot of detail, but there might be some other things that, members of the team might want to share with you or point out, that I may not have included.
Oh, the move?
Yeah, or the new space.
I think it's gonna, yes, it's different and takes some getting used to and the walls are a little, well, the outside walls are brick. So, but the inside walls are a little thinner than the courthouse. So there's a lot of echoing because it's very high ceilings. So just like myself who talks loud, like needing to be, and I'm used to being at the end of the hall. Just being a little more conscientious about, who's doing what and and just getting storage and things figured out. We've all been, really working together on where we think, where would the majority of us look for this? And we're used to having a room that can be like out of sight, and there is none of that. So all of the storage, there are 2 closets, but they are closets. So, everything is visible for anybody walking through. And so just trying to make it, look as professional as we can, along with just having a lot of stuff, especially 4-H, so I speak for myself. But I think it's different being on Main Street compared to in a courthouse with, people like I have in my presentation this morning, the ambassadors painted the front window and just the ability to do that, to have a little more visibility for the general public, I think is really nice. In the courthouse, it's just different because unless somebody is like coming to your office, they don't necessarily know that you're there. And, generally, if we want to do things, like we have to go through property committee to, get permission, like to put things in the hallway or on the walls, which is understandable. In the hallway walls, not in our offices, but, so just the ability to, kind of think through like, oh, what does this look like to the public? And, that kind of thing. And, so that's my long-winded answer.
We've had to work a little bit with the courthouse and like zoning and land and water, just because people are calling our office. We do only have one phone line that Haley and myself share. And they're calling saying like, oh, well, do you guys sell plat books? And we're like, yeah, but now we're in New London. And I've had a couple people call that are like, well, I'm from Point and I'm not driving to New London. So we've worked with Jenny in Land and Water for her to start being able to sell some of those plat books. Cause I do think that was a huge sell for us in the courthouse, that people were coming to pay their taxes or do anything like that. And they saw our sign that said plat books and now they just know that's where we were selling them and now we're not there. So Chris did work with Land and Water and now we do have some plat books available at the courthouse, but we have been utilizing a lot of our other locations like the banks and stuff to for location pickup.
And, in addition for Ally and Haley, and Chris, I'm not sure who of the three did the communicating and things, but working with the treasurer's office on making deposits a different way and the mail, they now, anybody is stopping in the courthouse a couple times a week, to pick up mail at the courthouse in Waupaca and bring it to New London, and drop off mail from New London in Waupaca, so we can continue to have the same rate of postage for anything that we want to mail out of New London, where it's more convenient, it would cost more. So, some of those things that, you don't really see on the outside of some of those internal things with the courthouse that we're working out as well.
Yeah, I do see one downfall to being in New London. I personally am a little too close to the Dairy Queen, and it's very walkable. So I have to resist the urge to have dilly bars every time I'm there. So any questions or comments from the committee? Otherwise, those are the items that I wanted to share with you.
Would it be viable to have one of our staff meetings there down the road or not?
There no room.
No room?
It would be really tight, but I mean, for the sake of like, for you guys to come and use the space and utilize our space, that we could make it work. It just would be a little tight, but we're
We
gonna,
wouldn't all need to sit in.
yeah. we
Right,
would
I
all
was gonna say, you as a committee would fit
100%.
in the room in the front.
It's a hot room.
That's the
That's right,
room.
that's right.
You didn't want to meet with their hot room there, huh?
The heat is,
Put a side in there.
yeah.
So we could, yes, no, we could at least, so let's put it this way. We could at least have one meeting and allow this group to decide, one, to be in the space, and then like from the experience say, oh, we can make this work. We also have been focused so much on getting, I shouldn't say solely, because I know there have been some groups that have gone out and visited some of the other businesses and kind of see what's locally. So we haven't found necessarily like, oh, there's a meeting space here or there's a meeting space there yet. I think that's kind of maybe one of the next things. If there is something else in New London that may be workable. Otherwise, the thing is about here and some of the others, we know that technology works. We know, those types of things, but we have all of the tools to make the technology work in our office. It would be any other additional location. So definitely something we can do in one of the next months.
Okay,
Won't be as nice a table this year.
I don't know.
It's nice.
You haven't seen the new one.
The day you were
Allie put
building
it
it.
together.
Don't you knock my table until you sit at it.
Allie has put together more furniture
I know
in
she
the
has.
last month than I have in my life.
Uh-huh.
If you have a grill, I'll bring it down.
Yeah, we are at risk of losing Ally to IKEA.
Yeah, we're gonna start offering furniture building.
okay, if that's it on that area, then we'll go to educator reports. Penny?
Yep, so I have a presentation I'd like to share this morning. And this is something that it's a presentation I do for our 4-H New Family Night. And is it set to keep moving?
It looks like it.
Cause it wasn't last time I used it, but, okay.
It doesn't show that there's any.
Okay, well, we can just do this view too, if you want. So. New Family Night. We offer a New Family Night each year in February. For anybody who enrolls in 4-H is invited. We had 5 families this year. The ambassadors help with New Family Night. And I do a year in review PowerPoint for that event because I just feel that's helpful to for people to see things that we do throughout the year and share information. So you can go to the next slide. We just start out talking about what 4-H is and, part of the UW-Madison Division of Extension. We talk about the 4-H's on the next slide. We have a older youth who teaches the 4-H pledge for the families. And then next we, I just review who can join 4-H, which is grades K through 1 year after high school. And again, this is also just a good review, I thought, for the committee. So I'm sorry if you know a lot of this already. And, anybody is invited to participate and parents and adults are invited to be volunteer leaders as well. And then we talk about, I share our numbers, our enrollment. So this was as of February. We have 427 members, which is up from 415 last year. So our enrollment has gone up. We have 99 clover buds, which is the most we've had in like forever. That's a lot of clover buds. So 99, so basically almost a quarter of our enrollment is grades in kindergarten through 2nd grade. And that is why we also try and do some of our clover bud specific events to support those younger members and try and keep them in 4-H. We have 168 volunteers. And then the projects down on the bottom, just for people to understand the depth and breadth of the projects, our top animal projects are poultry, swine, rabbits, and beef. The number after that is the number of youth that are enrolled. So there's a lot of chickens around the county and a lot of pigs. And most of the pigs in Waupaca County are being raised to be sold at the Waupaca County Fair. In case anybody wonders, there's a lot of people that exhibit pigs and sell them. Our top non-animal projects, we have 149 youth that enroll in art, which art is the catch-all for everything from ceramics to macrame to mosaics, drawing, painting, tie-dyeing, like it's any type of visual art, performing arts also, music, all of that falls under art. Photography, we have 125 young people, woodworking 106, and vegetables 104. So I like to break down the difference between the animal and non-animal projects. A lot of people, there still is the myth from, 100 years ago that 4-H is for people who live on a farm. And that is still an important part of 4-H, but it is not the only thing. And just, letting people know there are other things to do in 4-H. You can go. Then we have 17 clubs, which we had 2 clubs that became too small this year to be a club, and we had 1 new one. Norseman 4-H started in Iola. And so we had 2 clubs that are taking like the year off. People joined other groups for now, and then Norseman started up, and they have about 15 members, pretty active group there in Iola. You can go to the next slide. Then I share a little bit about just a regular 4-H club meeting. So once a month, the clubs meet for a monthly meeting. We encourage them, it doesn't always happen this way, but we encourage having 3 parts to your meeting. The learning part, which is some type of education, that can be, I'd say about half of our clubs, the members do demonstrations. And it could be only a minute long for younger kids, but just showing something, teaching the audience about something is a good opportunity for the young people to be in front of the group and for others in the group to learn from the members. The education could be a guest speaker, it could be doing a project. Some clubs use that time to, like the club my kids belong to, we did ceramics a few months ago, and that was a part of our club meeting. So some type of learning. Laughing would be any recreation, games, the snack time, all of that. And then the business part, this is the one that's a little different in most meetings. There aren't a lot of clubs where the business meeting is only 15 to 20 minutes. But that would be really nice and less for the kids to sit through. So it's, it'd be nice if more of our clubs, if we could get into like forming committees so that the club, so that you aren't talking about all of the details of something during the meeting with everybody there, but have a committee, like if you're looking at a club trip, have a committee, look up options, come with prices, and bring those ideas to a meeting, and then have the club decide what they want to do. There's, however clubs are able to make it work is what they do. But that business part would be the leading. So 3 parts to the meeting is what we try to do. And then I show them a sample agenda, and pretty similar to most meetings. But we have our pledges, the roll call, reports, old business, new business, so that the families that are joining 4-H have some idea of what they're walking into when they go to a club meeting. And then we also review the experiential learning model, which is a big part of 4-H is the do, reflect, and apply. So in projects and activity work, members are encouraged to do something, then talk about it, what went well, what could you improve, and then apply that to something else. And that's also like when we look at the county fair and the judging, that's also a part of that reflection and applying to other things is what the judge is talking with the young people about at the county fair too. Next. So then I get into kind of the year in review. So we do our officer training, which I think I've shared with this group about. But the clubs are run by young people in the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and some clubs have more officers. Next, one of our opportunities for grade 7 and above is the ambassador group. And I'm really happy this year we had 7 young people apply to be ambassadors, which pretty much doubled the size of our ambassador group. And it's just a nice chance for seventh grade and above to work with other older youth. They help with 4-H promotion. They help lead activities. They're very involved with our day camp in the summer. And helping just at 4-H events. Like this weekend, we have Super Saturday coming up, and some of them are teaching, some are helping. Next, that is our window. That the ambassadors, Abby in the tie-dyed shirt and black jeans, she drew it all, outlined it all. And when the ambassadors, we had a meeting in that hot room and there were like 12 of us in there. So, it's doable. You just have to be a little close. And then the ambassadors colored in all of the outline. So, and that FI in find is colored in. We realized after we took the picture that it wasn't completely done. But we look forward to doing more of that. Like, you aren't gonna see a different picture like weekly or anything, but every few months.
This was done for the New London
Yeah.
Festival, and that's great.
Yeah.
A lot of people saw it.
Yep. And just to, have something fun on our window because they're big windows. And I did have a lot of compliments from people in town too, that it really stands out and is visible and things. So we were excited about that. Then in the presentation, I have the ambassadors who are there. You can go to the next slide. I had 3 ambassadors, so getting back to the new family night part. I had 3 ambassadors that helped this year, and I have them just share any suggestions for the new families. A lot of them encourage new families to get involved. A big one that comes up every year is start your fair projects early. People, they learn that, but they don't always apply it, even after they learn it. But next slide. Then also for that age 13 and above, this is one, I apologize, it doesn't quite fit with the presentation, but I wanted to add this in as I was talking about the ambassadors. But anybody 13 and older is encouraged to do a Thrive survey, it's called, in the fall. This is the 4th year, the whole state of Wisconsin 4-H program does this. And there are all kinds of numbers that come with it. What I wanted to share today is just some of the quotes of what is something you have, what is something interesting or new that you have learned in 4-H? And these were some of the written responses that, I learned how to talk in front of people and to be more independent and confident. Somebody learned how much community service actually matters to others. I've learned that not everybody has the same viewpoints on things, and I have to be okay with that. 4-H has taught me so many things, but most importantly, it taught me how to be an overall good person. 4-H allowed them to spend time doing what they like. Somebody wrote creativity, that they learned how to be a better leader. Somebody learned that to be proud of who they are and what they do. And I learned how to work with people from various different backgrounds. And I also enjoy getting the chance to work with younger youth. And so I just think those are some, powerful testaments to what 4-H can do for young people. Okay, next. So these next ones I'll go through kind of quickly. This is what I do then for New Family Night, is going through just the variety of things that 4-H has. So we do a variety of different contests. We had a gingerbread house contest and our Lego contest. You can go to the next slide. And the next one. We did a snowman building contest. We have a speaking and demonstration coming up in a few weeks. And then some of the events that we've had this year, we had Winter Leadership Camp. We had 40 young people at Spencer Lake outside of Waupaca. And there was 8 counties and Cloverbud workshops. I mentioned that earlier. We do quarterly meetings. Super Saturday, as I said, is coming up this Saturday.
What time does it start?
Registration starts at 8.
Cause I looked for it in your pamphlet and it didn't have a start time in it.
Sorry, yes, registration starts at
That's why I
8.
missed it.
And the first class is at 8:50, I believe. But yes, anybody is welcome to come. We're there till 12:30. So if anybody wants to stop by in the morning, we are at Manawa High School this year. We have about 180 young people registered. It's gonna be a full house. A lot of excitement around Super Saturday. Next. And going on to our summer camp, we have grades 3 through 7, counselors are 9th grade and above. We are going to Upham Woods again near the Dells with Iowa and Portage County. Next. Another opportunity, grades 6 through 8 is space camp. So these are some of the educational experiences young people can do. We just had a interview last week for a 7th grader going to space camp, the 4-H Leaders Association. So they are a separate, like they aren't part of the county or anything. They are a separate group of 4-H volunteers. And they are the ones that organize the Plaque Book fundraiser and the 4-H food stand. So the 2 big fundraisers for the program. They also then turn around and use that money to support the young people with all kinds of ways that they do that. One of them is they provide up to half of the cost for these educational experiences if the young people do an application and an interview, which is good experience for them as they get older. This year, for example, Space Camp is $1,300. And they support half of that. So the family only has to pay, I shouldn't say only, the family has to pay $650. Compared to $1,300, $650 is nice. Next. Citizenship Washington Focus is another one of those, grades 10 and above. American Spirit, grades 8 through 10. You can keep going.
Okay.
One thing, I am gonna pause here a moment. One thing that is new this year that really came up on short notice, along with for those educational experiences, there is a Herb Cole Foundation that sponsors learning journeys for schools. And some 4-H programs have started applying for those funds. And the 4-H educator from Oconto and Marinette County asked if I wanted to partner with her. She would write the grant and if our 3 counties would want to travel to Washington, DC together. And we got the grant and what that allows is, so we are able to take 40 young people. We will be going in July to Washington, DC for 4 days. And it is no cost to the 40 youth. This Herb Cole Foundation, like that's what they do, is they support, they have a travel agent who does all of the travel arrangements. There's a tour guide with us when we get there. The only thing it will cost for the members is $100 to $200 that we collect to go towards, we have T-shirts made for the kids, snacks when we're there, tips for the bus driver and tour guides and everything. But the entire rest of the trip is paid for by this foundation. And so we're accepting registrations right now, and that is ages 13 to 17. And priority is given to those who have not been to Washington DC before. And the grant requires that we visit the Capitol, which good thing to visit when you go to Washington DC anyways. And that we visit a college, which also isn't a bad thing for young people to see a college campus. So those are the two requirements of the experience. So we're gonna see how that goes. So that's an exciting new development that just came up in the last couple of weeks.
Taking a bus or
Well, they want us to fly,
or fly?
you know.
How many counties?
3 counties.
Okay, so that 40 would be split up between the three, okay?
Mhm.
According to population, or you don't know yet?
It really is, right now, it's kind of first come, first
Yeah.
serve, and then we'll go through the applications and, yeah, and the travel agent is gonna set up a parent meeting soon. So yeah.
They
it's-
quit flying helicopters there now, so it should be safe.
Oh, good. Oh,
So,
yeah.
so that, and it's easier by.
Did they used to give tours?
I tell other people, like, I think to myself, oh, taking 40 youth to the airport, like, that's not terrible. And I'm kind of terrified. Internally, it's like, that'll be interesting. There will be 4 chaperones. So anyways, looking forward to that. To finish out my presentation, the rest of the year in review, day camp is, each summer we do day camp, usually around 40 young people. Our ambassadors, again, like I said, are a big part of planning this. They went with the superhero theme last year, which was very popular. We got them capes and masks for the superheroes and did activities related to that. And if you can see, that was held at the fairgrounds. It's a great place to have day camp. So next. Then we also just have different virtual workshops, project kits, project meetings. The butterfly cake was last year, and Abby actually just last Tuesday, bunny cake. Abby just last Tuesday led butterfly cakes, where the Leaders Association paid for any families to get a cake and frosting and decorating things. And just very well received, and people just really enjoyed it. So this year they learned how to cut the cake so that you have 4 pieces to make a butterfly. Larry recognizes the young lady on the bottom right, is Aurora. That was a ceramics workshop we had, and so just a wide variety of workshops and meetings and things. Next.
Granddaughter?
Area Animal Science Day is one opportunity for animal exhibitor. Actually, you don't have to be exhibiting animals, but have an interest in. This was dairy in particular, where the young people, like in the bottom left, they go to practices around the county and learn how to judge dairy animals, and then they go to the contest and score them and can go on to a state and a national level. Waupaca County did have a national team about 15 years ago. And then we also, the other 2 girls leading animals are from Waupaca County. You also can sign up to lead your animal for the people who are judging. So another opportunity to show animals that they like to do. Next. Just a few other, we have a fall forum, National Congress. Some of those photos are from two of our members that went to Atlanta, Georgia. The one on the right is Isabel Dietzler, who went to Washington DC for a national conference. And that is, she is with like the head of the Department of Ag, I believe, or the Secretary of Ag. So just additional ways people can be involved outside of the county also. And next, our pumpkin and watermelon and poster contest in the fall is always a big hit. Very easy contest to do and kids just have a lot of fun. And then the county fair, the opportunities available to, you know, show your projects, talk with the judges, make booths for those educational experiences so people can learn about the things that we do in 4-H, all kinds of good opportunities related to the county fair. And I think that's, oh, record books, I've talked about those before. You can go to the next one. Then awards night and the banquet are kind of how we end our year after we have our record books and young people receive recognition for the projects that they do. And then our volunteers, we do a Distinguished Service Award each year that Representative Peterson brings from the legislature down Capitol. The Farm Bureau provides scholarships and certificates for our 4-H Key Award. Well, there's another relative of Larry's, man.
See Tom up there too, yeah.
Oh,
I get tired watching this because I said 50-some years plus.
So that is our year in review. And then our plat books that we have, that Ally had mentioned earlier. So, like I said, this is what we normally do for new family night and, just a nice way to, share an overview of what 4-H is and what we do throughout the year. Any questions?
Now you know why she's got a lot of containers.
Well, it's very good presentation, yeah.
Since you have that little cove in front of the building, have you thought about putting anything out front? I know you got the business down the street, they got all kinds of stuff out there. I don't think that it gets damaged, but I think that would be a concern, but that would kind of bring a little life to the area.
Yep, Haley and Christy, I know, talked about putting some planters out there in the spring. And maybe those like tomato bushes or something like that people can pick their own, like
a edible garden pot.
But like in the fall, you have a bale of hay and corn stuff and
Yeah.
pumpkins.
Yeah. And we do have a
Something for the
chalkboard, like that we were gonna write things on out there, so we've talked about it.
Yep. Okay.
Yep,
Ain't that simple.
So there's seating space in there?
A little bit probably, you could probably squeeze a chair there. A bench maybe, I don't know,
Yeah.
small
Would be
one.
nice out
Yeah.
there.
mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Very unique and nice looking bench.
Hey, thank you, Penny.
Yeah,
Next on the agenda, outreach, education, or program reminders and announcements from staff.
No. So my social joinery program is still meeting on a semi-regular basis. They skipped February, but they'll be meeting in March this Thursday at 5:30. There is a local civic organization that wants to do something similar to that program, so we're exploring how we can create a partnership and join forces and make the program even stronger. Still continuing to provide support for the Historical Society with their strategic plan. They are continuing with the plan that we had co-created with the board. So that's in progress. Real Colors, I am working on planning for a follow-up workshop for the ADRC. I had done the foundational workshop for them a few months ago, and that's a 2.5 to 3 hour workshop, and that just gets the foundational understanding of the Real Colors. And the workshop that I'm doing in the future for them is about an hour, and it's really meant to reinforce what they've learned, and it helps them to create more robust strategies to create cohesion and better communication within their department. Another opportunity that is still in the works, but it's I think it's a very fantastic opportunity for the county. The Extension's Community Economic Development has an opportunity to partner with the Waupaca County Economic Development Corporation to bring a homegrown training to the county, which is a half-day training that it positions entrepreneurship as an economic development strategy. So they're trying to build an entrepreneurial ecosystem development and help people start businesses. So this might interest local lenders, community leaders, local government leaders. And that's really, again, about building their network to support entrepreneurship. These people might have like a business idea that they've been throwing around for the last, couple of years, but they don't really have a network yet that reaches rural Wisconsin. So my role in that would be the local connection, community organizing, cultivating interest in the program, coordinating for local entrepreneurs to be speakers at these events and speak on their experience about starting a business in Waupaca County. That is what I have. Those are the main things that I have going on right now. So I welcome any questions that you might have.
Anybody else have anything?
I'll touch on two things that I'm working on currently. Established a new partnership with Rawhide Youth Services outside of New London to work with their youth on bringing in more nutritionally dense food options and teaching them how to prepare those things in one of their culinary classes that they have. So partnering with Michaela, who actually used to work for Extension or in Extension. So that's the connection, but I'm really happy and fortunate to have that connection with Rawhide. That is a population that we haven't worked with in the past. So we assess our county and the different pockets of diversity and poverty pockets. Rawhide does show up quite largely and vibrantly on the map. And so I'm very excited to dive into that potential with lots of opportunity there. Also working with their kitchen staff to assess their menu and bring in more nutritionally dense foods as something that they asked for me to help provide them. And I've connected them with the Wisconsin Food Hub to bring in more
So
locally
they're
sourced.
quite receptive to it then.
Absolutely.
Oh, great.
Yes,
That's-
they're
that's half
receptive
the battle.
to just about anything that I threw at them, and I threw a lot at them. I'm also going to hopefully be working in their garden this summer with them too.
That's great.
And
Do they have a
then,
garden there?
yes, they do. They have a really beautifully established garden, so that part is nice because we can offer establishing a garden on site, but what we're going to work on specifically with their garden is growing things that they can then be using in their kitchen to then be serving to their youth. So that's a really fun opportunity, and maybe talk about pickling some of the items, canning some of the items, and so on and so forth, so that the youth then leave there and have those skills to be able to use in their life moving forward. In addition to be working in gardens and getting used to that too. So I'm really excited about that. And then I also am working really closely with the WIC program moving forward. We always have had a really strong partnership with them. But this summer we're offering a Meet Us at the Market event at the different markets across the county to help people understand on how to utilize their WIC checks, buying produce at the different locations that they're able across our county. And also offering grocery store tours to specific items that they can use their WIC benefits on, and with the hopes of increasing redemption rates with those different items that they're eligible to buy with those benefits.
I didn't realize you've been using the grocery store.
Yes, so they offer the checks in the summer that are specific to farmers markets, but they do receive benefits throughout the remainder of the year to utilize their grocery stores.
Every grocery store.
No, they have to be WIC approved, and the items, WIC is a really interesting nutrition benefit program where it's very specific to different brands and different credentials that the different foods have to meet in order to be WIC eligible. I'm really focusing on that nutritionally dense
Absolutely.
items for young children and expecting moms.
Push them beets.
Yes. Absolutely. Speaking of that, we talked about having another food demo here soon, so get ready.
Alicia just wanted me to mention she had to hop off to go to an HCE meeting in Manawa, but she said that she is looking at a bunch of community programs coming up and she looks forward to sharing at the county board meeting. And then she also hopes to share Money Smart Wisconsin outcomes during our committee meeting on the 24th, which she is going to be the educator report that week.
Okay, does it show the date for the next meeting? Is that?
It would be the 24th,
No.
28th, sorry,
Okay.
28th of April.
If there's nothing else, I call for a motion to adjourn.
So
We are adjourned. Rest of that, be here again.